Okay, a very good morning to one and all present. I am Raldi Joshi and my course is BSc program on physical sciences with chemistry. So the topic for my presentation is meso compounds. I'll be telling you about what are meso compounds, what are its examples, its definitions, and some basic questions related to it. So let's start. What is a meso compound? A chiral compound with chiral centers is known as a meso compound. Although it has two or more stereo centers, a meso compound has an internal plane of symmetry that makes it superimposable on its mirror image and optically inactive. And a meso compound is a stereoisomer with two or more chiral centers but no optical activity due to an internal plane of symmetry. Mesomers are compounds with zero net rotation of plane polarized light. In other words, mesomers are organic molecules that have two chiral carbons that are identical, resulting in zero net rotation. What is the basic definition of a meso compound? So let's see it. What is it? Just a minute. So, mesocompounds feature several chiral centers and are achiral substances. Despite having stereocenters, it is overlaid on its mirror counterpart and is optically inactive. An achiral compound with chiral centers is known as a mesocompound. Although it has two or more stereocenters, a mesocompound has an internal plane of symmetry that makes it superimposable on its mirror image and is optically inactive. A non-optically active member of a group of stereoisomers, at least two of which are optically active, is known as a mesocompound or a mesoisomer. This signifies that the molecule is not chiral despite the presence of two or more stereogenic centers. So now let's see some examples of mesocompounds. Mesocompounds features chiral centers, sp3 hybridized tetrahedral atoms bound to four distinct groups, yet they are achiral generally due to symmetry. As mentioned, a mesocompound should include at least two chiral sp3 hybridized atoms, with the exception of the nitrogen atom of a tertiary amine, and at least one internal plane that splits the molecule into two mirror copies. The molecule cannot be planar because tetrahedral centers are involved. Any compound with even one symmetry element is achiral, which means it won't rotate plane polarized light. As a result, mesocompounds have no optical activity. A mesocompound is optically active. Let's see about it. A non-optically active member of a collection of stereoisomers of which at least two are optically active is known as a mesocompound or mesoisomer. This means that despite having two or more stereogenic centers, the molecule is not chiral. They are chiral compounds, meaning they have features like several features like chiral centers. It is overlaid on its mirror image and is optically inactive despite having stereocenters. It possesses an internal symmetry plane that splits the compound in two. These two sides are reflected in each other via the inner mirror. Stereochemistry in the stereocenter can be cancelled out. This indicates that if the molecule is divided into two symmetrical sides by an internal plane, the stereochemistry of the left and right side should be opposite each other. As a result, the outcome is optically inactive. Theoretically, cyclic molecules are also meso because optical activity cancels out in the presence of a plane of symmetry. Meso compounds do not display optical activity. Some questions related to meso compounds are: Why is meso atrial? Meso compounds are atrial because they have a plane of symmetry, and this will lead to a mirror image, which is superimposable to the original molecule. Are, are atrial compounds always meso? A meso compound contains a plane of symmetry, and so is atrial, regardless of whether the molecule has a tidal center. A plane of symmetry is a plane that cuts a molecule in half, yielding two halves that are mirror reflections of each other. How do you know if a compound is optically active? The compounds which are capable of optical rotation are said to be optically active. Active compounds, all the chiral compounds are optically active. The chiral compound contains an asymmetric center where the carbon is attached with the four different atoms or groups. It forms two non-superimposable mirror images. What is a meso compound in organic chemistry? A meso compound or mesoisomer is a non-optically active member of a set of stereoisomers, at least two of which are optically active. This means that despite containing two or more stereogenic centers, the molecule is not chiral. What is the meaning of a mesoform? A form of an element that cannot demonstrate optical activity as a result of dextrodihrate and levodihrate effects that are balanced contrary to each other in a structure is the meaning of a mesoform. So it's the end of my presentation, and I would like to thank you all for your time and attention.